Sandra, how are we doing the online? Okay. Let me waiting for our clock to turn to 5, and there it is. Okay. Heard the bell out there. Good evening, everyone. We are here in council chambers. That's City Hall, Pacific Grove, California, 300 Forest Avenue. It's 5 p.m., Wednesday, April 15th, 2026. And this is a special study session of the City Council. This is not a regular meeting, it's a special meeting, and it's a special study session meeting. I'm calling the meeting to order. I'm noting for the record that we have 4 council members present for this portion of the night. We have Councilmember Lori McDonald, we have Mayor Pro Tem Joe Emilio, we have myself, and we have Councilmember Cynthia Garfield present. None of the other council members will be present for this session. And this is the special study session. We have one item under new business that's been noted as A. And so at this time, I think we should probably approve the agenda. It's not on here, but I think we got to do it. So can I entertain a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 4-0. And now we're on to the new business here, and the reason we're all here for this special study session tonight, the Coral Street Pump Station in Pacific Grove project, and we will recognize the principal engineer of Monterey One Water, Matthew Thompson, tonight, and he is present and will be speaking. And I will recognize him at this time. Thank you very much for coming, Mr. Thompson. We appreciate your presence tonight.
Yes, good evening, council members. I'm Matt Thompson, the Director of Engineering at Monterey One Water. My group of staff is responsible for delivering all of Monterey One Water's capital improvement projects, including the Coral Street Pump Station electrical relocation. Also with me this evening is Jennifer Gonzalez, our capital improvements engineer, who also is the project manager for this particular project. Thank you for hosting this study session. I think we all agree that Pacific Grove is a special place worthy of protection. The Coral Street Pump Station electrical relocation is critically important for protection of the ocean around Pacific Grove, so completing the project is a high priority for Monterey One Water. We appreciate the opportunity to present the latest on this project and hear your feedback. I have a full presentation for you. I'm going to take some time to explain why we are doing the project, some of the background as it is helpful to understand why we are proposing to locate the electrical system at the golf course site, explain how we are being responsive to those who commented with concerns about the golf course site, and then preview the next steps for completion of this project. Some of the commenters on our recent environmental document expressed concerns about the visual impacts of the electrical system at the golf course site. So we've been working in recent weeks on some alternatives to address those visual impacts. I have some new architect's renderings that I'll be sharing with you and the public for the first time. Next slide, please. All right, first, here is the location of the pump station. Is located right on the shoreline next to Ocean View Boulevard near the projection of Coral Street. The station was originally built in the 1980s to replace an old lift station operated by the city. The purpose of the pump station is to collect wastewater generated in the northwest part of PG and pump it towards Monterey One Water's regional treatment plant in North Marina. Could you click that one more time, Dan, please? All right. I've highlighted here in red the area of Pacific Grove that is served by this pump station. It is a remarkably large area. The wastewater generated in this area is approximately 500,000 gallons per day. This is relevant because if this pump station were to ever fail, it could result in a large sewage spill to Monterey Bay. I think we can all agree that none of us wants that to happen on our watch. All right, here's a photo of the top of the Coral Street pump station taken during a storm surge event in 2012. There have been many other similar storm surge events in the past. This concrete feature is the top of the dry well portion of the pump station. It's called the dry well because it contains critical electrical equipment that must remain dry for the pump station to function properly. Next slide, please, Stan. Here's an old engineering schematic showing a side view of the underground pump station. The electrical equipment is located in the area circled in red. If water gets in through the top of the dry well and floods this area, it could destroy the electrical equipment and cause the pump station to fail. We've done our best to seal up the top of the dry well, but it remains vulnerable to flooding. The real long-term solution is to relocate the electrical part of this pump station to an upland location that is not vulnerable to flooding. Next slide, Dan, please. All right, this electrical relocation project was conceived around 2010. At that time, the city of Pacific Grove had a need to connect a portion of its stormwater system into Monterey One Water's wastewater system. Now, normally Monterey One Water requires payment of connection fees for capacity taken in the wastewater system. The city of Pacific Grove instead offered Monterey One Water some of its land for relocation of the pump station electrical system in lieu of paying those connection fees. Here's a view of the area around the Coral Street pump station. I've highlighted the city-owned locations we've explored with city staff as candidate sites for the electrical system. Esplanade Park is closest to the Coral Street pump station, and from a purely engineering perspective would be the best site. But there has been strong community opposition to that location. We also looked at the parking area northwest of the pump station, but there are a lot of known archaeological resources there that would be impacted. The next closest station is the golf course near the intersection of Coral Street and Del Monte Boulevard. That is the site the city expressed as their preferred location in March 2024. Some of those who commented on the environmental document in late 2025 asked about the city corporation yard where your local water project facilities are located. In response to those comments, we prepared a quick feasibility study of that location. That location is roughly twice the distance from the pump station as the golf course site and would cost approximately 50% more to build. Construction of that location would require major disturbance of a long segment of Ocean View Boulevard, which would have a very high impact to the community. For these reasons, we have eliminated the corporation yard site from further consideration. All right, so here is some more important background on this project. In 2012, Monterey One Water again had identified Esplanade Park as its preferred location. We held a town hall meeting in Pacific Grove, and there was strong opposition to locating the electrical system at Esplanade Park. Some threatened to litigate. Jumping ahead to 2019, the city held a public process for adoption of a shoreline management plan to meet coastal commission requirements. One of the strategies identified in the management plan was to relocate the Coral Street pump station electrical system to Esplanade Park. The majority of commenters supported relocating the electrical system, but some specifically requested it not be located at Esplanade Park. All right, moving ahead to 2023, the project remains a high priority for Monterey One Water. So we applied for and received some community project funding through Congressman Panetta's office. We've been using that funding primarily for preparation of a basis of design report, an initial study of the environmental impacts, and a mitigated negative declaration. The basis of design report is an engineering document that evaluated many of the alternative locations I described earlier. Since Monterey One Water is limited to city-owned locations, we provided that document to your Public Works Director, Dan Go, in March 2024 and requested the city's direction on where to locate the electrical system. We understand Mr. Go in turn discussed the matter with City Council in closed session. And in late March 2024, Mr. Go directed us to locate the electrical system at the northeast corner of the golf course. With this direction, we had our environmental consultant, Denise Duffy and Associates, prepare an initial study of the environmental impacts of locating the electrical system at the golf course. They determined the project would not result in any significant environmental impacts, so they prepared a mitigated negative declaration. That is the document that we circulated for public comment in October 2025. It's important to pause here and clarify why we did not prepare a full environmental impact report for the project. The California Environmental Quality Act provides that if a project will result in impacts that are not significant or can be reduced to less than significant with mitigation, then a mitigated negative declaration is the appropriate document. Our initial study had determined the locating electrical system at the golf course would not result in significant environmental impacts. Indeed, the purpose of the project is to better protect the environment. A mitigated negative declaration is therefore the appropriate environmental document. All right, after we circulated the environmental document for public comment, we received 24 comment letters, 24, primarily from those who live near the golf course site. I'll elaborate on their comments and how we are responding. All right, also in late 2025, we learned the Federal Emergency Management Agency has awarded a $4 million grant for completion of this project. I mention this because these grant funding agencies expect timely expenditure of funds. We cannot let this project languish any further, or we could risk losing that grant funding. I personally am quite motivated to move ahead with final design and construction of this project as soon as possible. All right. You're already there, Dan. Thank you. Here's some details about the project. That's a figure on the right of the neighborhood around the Coral Street pump station. You can see the lower left, what would be essentially the northeast corner of the golf course site. The project will include constructing a new small electrical building at the northeast corner of the golf course in a spot that was carefully selected to not interfere with the golf operation. The building will contain typical electrical equipment such as a transformer, a switchboard, and electronic controller. It is important for this pump station to always have electrical power, so the system will also include an emergency generator that will operate only during power outages. We intend to enclose the generator inside the building so it does not make a lot of noise when operating. The project also includes installing an underground electrical duct bank to the pump station. That's the line shown here in yellow, running most of its length in Coral Street. The duct bank is approximately 1,300 feet long. After we complete this new electrical system, we will remove the existing old electrical equipment at the pump station and then harden the pump station to protect the remaining mechanical equipment. Next slide, please. Here's the existing view of the golf course site. This is the view from Crest Lane, close to the intersection with Coral Street and Del Monte Boulevard. A note regarding the electrical building. This is the existing view. I'm going to show you the initial electrical building in a minute, but a note regarding that electrical building. When we were in conceptual design of this project and preparing the initial study, we attempted to draw up a conceptual building that would match the architecture of the existing golf course clubhouse. Those buildings, as you know, have a unique split roof line. When we drew up the building, next slide, Dan, please. When we drew up the building with the split roof line, it made the building appear much taller than it really needs to be. Here's the original architect's rendering that we included in the environmental document. This is that same view from Crest Lane as the previous image. Many of the commenters expressed concerns about the visual impact of this building. We acknowledge there's room for improvement here. We've been putting together some alternative conceptual designs that I'll share with you in a minute. But first, again, I mentioned we received 24 comment letters on the initial study and the mitigated negative declaration, primarily from those who live near the golf course. We now have our environmental consulting preparing a full response to all of those comment letters. And it's been pretty time consuming. It's actually still a work in progress, but should be completed later this month. We're doing our best to be responsive to those comments by refining the project design to mitigate their concerns. This table shows the categories of comments we received with Monterey One Water's corresponding response to those comments. For the visual impacts, we are preparing several alternative designs to reduce the visibility of the electrical building. My next few slides are going to show those alternatives. We'd like to ask for your input on those alternatives. For the concerns about noise, the only aspect of the electrical system that will make noise is the emergency generator when it is operating during a power outage. Again, we intend to enclose the generator inside the building to minimize noise. For the concerns about light pollution, we can design the project to minimize exterior lighting and ensure the lighting is properly shielded or shrouded to prevent light pollution. For air pollution, we are considering changing the design so the emergency generator is fueled by natural gas instead of diesel. Natural gas fueled generators are generally cleaner and little quieter than diesel generators. For traffic concerns, I want to emphasize that a well-designed electrical system should not require frequent visits by Monterey One Water operations and maintenance staff. We utilize telemetry systems to remotely monitor the condition of all our pump stations, which enables us to minimize the need to physically be at the facility. When we do visit a facility, it will typically be just a single operator in a light-duty pickup truck. When the underground duct bank is under construction, there will be temporary interruptions of traffic flow in Coral Street and Ocean View Boulevard. We can require a contractor to plan the construction work so vehicles, pedestrians, and bicyclists can safely pass through the construction zone. Next slide, please, Dan. All right, getting back to visual impacts. Here's the first of 3 alternative design concepts we have prepared for your consideration. It would be helpful to us if the city could communicate which of these 3 alternatives it prefers.
How much more time do you have, Mr. Thompson, in your presentation?
About 5 more minutes.
Okay, thanks.
We are preparing to move into final design of this project later this summer, so it'd be good to hear your preference within a month or 2. The first alternative is still a typical above-ground building, but we have lowered the roof line significantly to reduce the height and mass of the building. The architecture and finishes are meant to match other existing buildings at the golf course and in the surrounding neighborhood. All right, now for these next 2 alternatives, we've been looking into the subsurface conditions at the golf course site, and we think it would be feasible to place all of the electrical system in a full or partially buried concrete vault. We envision carefully grading the surface and adding vegetation surrounding the vault so it blends in seamlessly with surrounding golf course. This is a partial subterranean option. The reason it is not fully subterranean is because we know there's bedrock approximately 10 feet below the ground surface and some shallow groundwater. So it may be necessary for the top portion of the vault to extend up a little above the ground surface. This is just a concept. We know that there is a golf cart path that passes through this area that must be protected, so we would address that during the final design. This is the last alternative, a fully subterranean vault surrounded by nice landscaping. It certainly has the lowest profile and of all 3 alternatives. If this becomes your preferred alternative, we will strive during the final design to make it look like this as close as possible, but we are constrained by underground conditions, and we really will not know for sure if it is feasible until we can get a little further along in final design. All right, next steps. We're now at a point in this project where we need to move ahead with final design and continue making progress towards completion in order for the grant funding to remain in place. In July, the project manager, Jennifer Gonzalez, and I will be taking this to the Monterey One Water Board for 2 actions. We're going to ask them to certify the initial study and mitigated negative declaration, and then proceed with awarding a contract for final design. We'll then have about 10 months of design work before the project is ready to advertise for construction bids. I'd like to advertise for bids in the spring of 2027 with the goal to begin construction in summer of 2027. All right, that's all for me. Thank you for bearing with me. I know that was quite a bit of information. I'm glad to answer any questions you may have. Again, Jen's with me. We're eager to hear your feedback. We're gonna take notes and continue improving this project going forward.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thompson. We're going to take it out to the public. We got a lot of people here, and also online that probably want to speak to this. And again, this is a study session tonight. We're taking in information and we're going to listen to the information, and that's what we're doing. That's our main focus tonight. So, given that, how many people online are wishing to speak, Kendra? I'm opening up for public comment on this item. So can you raise your hand in the audience for how many people would like to speak? A little higher. I can't really see a lot of you. Okay. And any online?
I have one hand raised online.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take people in chambers first. Whoever would like to speak, please queue up. Come on up, and then if you would like to speak, please queue up behind the person.
Good evening. Thank you for your service to our city.
Please.
Oh,
speak in the mic.
good evening. My name is Lila Selden, and my husband and I are active volunteers in this area. We have worked and raised our children and now grandchildren on the beach, in the beach track for over 30 years. Our home is on the corner of Coral and Balboa. We're one of 35 homes that are within 100 feet of the Coral Street Pump Station electrical relocation project. There are many more residences that are within 250 feet of the construction in Monterey 1's mitigation measure NOS-2, which involves the Pacific Grove Public Works Director's review and approval of construction, and therefore our city. We oppose the Coral Street project. It will adversely affect our lifestyle, reduce our property values with many negative environmental impacts. The 2-year construction plan will expose us to construction noise, exhaust emissions from work vehicles, and increase our traffic congestion in this very scenic and quiet environment. When the project is built, our lifestyle will be negatively impacted by weekly scheduled maintenance, their vehicles, and the generator's odor and noise. The Monterey 1's IS does not have an environmental impact study specifying the protected species and their sensitive habitats of over an acre of land that will be adversely affected during the 2-year construction and location in this area. We see currently great horned owls, herons, egrets, hawks, swallows. It's also a habitat for deer, Canadian geese, and coyotes. The lighting plan will affect our nocturnal species and limit our beautiful scenic night views. We are aware that the entire Ocean View underground site will eventually have to be relocated due to sea level rise. We support alternative sites which can meet Monterey 1's goals now and in the future. Our suggested sites are the City Corporation Yard, the Little Chapel by the Sea, and the Esplanade site. The Corporation Yard and the Little Chapel by the Sea would be longer distances away from and minimizing residences' negative environmental impact. The Esplanade site is $5 million less expensive than the Coral Street project, takes much less time to relocate, and is more cost effective to raise ratepayers. We moved to our home because it's a family friendly and a safe and healthy environment. We didn't anticipate this dramatic and possible negative change to our lifestyle and reduction of real estate values. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, next person come on up. We're going to run out of time, I think.
Yes, thank you. My name is Rudolph Estrada. I live at 1123 Ocean View, directly across from I call it the bunker. Did I understand you correctly, sir? Are they going to
You
seal?
gotta talk to you gotta just.
Are they going to seal the,
Q&A for,
I'm sorry?
you can't Q&A with the audience and with the
Oh.
members.
Okay. My question is 2 questions.
Okay.
One, how long do they expect Ocean View to be under construction there? 1, and 2, is that electrical chamber there going to be sealed off? Because it's obviously a unsightly view to that pristine coastline there. Those are my two questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Jacqueline Harmer, I live on Crest. Good evening, council members and staff from Monterey One Water. Excuse me. Thank you for the report and for the discussion and for all your work. It's complicated. Before I begin though, I have a simple question for you. Have you personally visited this site? My neighbours and I invite you to come. I'll make tea or perhaps something stronger if you wish. To understand our concerns, let's go back to the 2019 Shoreline Management Plan. At that time, the city hired consultants to conduct a public meeting. I was there, and surveys. That transparency is exactly what resulted in the 1,200 public comments shown on your slide tonight. This context matters. By comparison, the current process for the Coral Street location involved a simple notice posted to very few households last October. This isn't an equivalent process, and nor is it an adequate one. It appears that a closed-door council session decided to pivot from the Esplanade site to Coral Street, likely partly as a result of the survey feedback. Financially, while we lack final figures, the pivot doesn't make too much sense. The report itself identifies Esplanade as technically superior and the most cost-effective option. So if undergrounding and mitigation is an option at Coral, perhaps, which is granite, perhaps these resources could be applied to the Esplanade site. But this leads me to another question. Have other sites since been considered? Because I only saw permutations of Esplanade or Coral Street. In March, Mr. Sciuto said he wasn't aware of other golf course options, but was open to that idea. What's the status of that exploration? Now, the PG Golf Links website promotes a course where the joy of golf seamlessly intertwines with local wildlife. This specific corner is a wildlife magnet, and the proposed structure would disrupt the 8th to 9th tee game flow and the natural beauty enjoyed by golfers, residents, and the many visitors who stroll along the Crest Avenue. To be clear, my husband and my personal opposition to Coral Street is based on significant harmful impacts. 2 years of heavy machinery and construction, a cable duct on Crest abutting our yard 30 feet from our living room window, a driveway entrance 60 feet from our dining table, an intrusive, not small structure of still undefined design 100 feet from our dining room table, lit 24/7, creating visual noise and light pollution, along with fuel storage danger and maintenance traffic, environmental damage, and a certain decrease in the value of our homes.
Stop. There's too many people to speak tonight.
15 seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please step up next person.
Good evening, Mayor Smith and City Council members and Mr. Thompson and Ms. Gonzalez. Thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Trin Rederer. I work at JRG Attorneys at Law, and we represent Matthew Denecor, who resides on Coral Street, just directly across from the project. They weren't able to make it tonight. My first comment is related again to the status of the evaluation of alternatives and transparency. So I understand that an application has not yet been made to the city, and that will be forthcoming, and that the selection of the site was really based on a closed session, real property negotiation with the city. And so the involvement of the current stakeholders is happening just now. And so I just want to better understand the opportunities available for public input, because it does, with the grant funding, it sounds like there's a sense of urgency there. Couple of comments regarding the MND. Regarding aesthetics, I think the MND's conclusions are based on two main points. One is that the existing visual quality is currently moderate, but I think it could be argued that it would be high quality. The second point in the MND is that the architectural design and landscaping would ensure that there are no impacts, but that information is not in the document, so I'd like to see a little information on that. Regarding noise impacts, there is currently no evidence supporting the conclusions in the MND, so we'd like to see that strengthened. And finally, I believe there may be a potential zoning code in a conflict because the golf course site is zoned open space. And according to the zoning ordinance or zoning code, which was amended in 1996, open space districts are expressly excluded from the allowance of public utility structures, even with a use permit. So setting aside that this analysis was omitted in the MND, it's unclear to us how the city will be able to move forward with approving the use permit with the conflicting zoning code.
Thank you, Ms. Ferber. Next up.
Make it fast. Everybody said everything I wanted to say anyway. So my name is Debbie Rappa and I live right on Crest. I open my front door window and I will see this giant structure. I have 3 bay windows that it will completely cover if they build a building. They go low, that's different. But you know, the animals, the lighting, there are a lot of issues here. I was hoping Esplanade. I was really hoping the waste management. There's not going to be water intrusion there because they've got machinery already and there's tons of space already went there. So I know it's $10 million. Esplanade would be great. Maybe not next to the park, but a little bit, the next block would be awesome. Trees are there, everything would be covered. So it's going to really affect me more than anybody in the whole place because my mother bought this house for unobstructed view, and there is going to be a building 30 feet away. I open the door, get the air, I'm going to hear the noise. I'm going to see everything. And I can't sell that house. I'll lose money like crazy. So thank you very much. I'm sorry I'm upset, but I'm losing sleep over this. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lila Sandell. I just want to point out the views from Esplanade Park to the ocean are spectacular. That park, we live very close. The park is being used by local residents as well as visitors, picnics, children playing in the park. I think the installation of the unit in Esplanade Park would significantly affect the park and the use of the park. And taking away that beautiful view for everybody to enjoy would be a mistake. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peter Cowley, Crest Avenue. I'm opposed to placing the structure here on Coral Street. For some reason, when I do a development project, I'm required to notify people within 500 feet of the boundaries of that property. The APN number for this golf course site stretches quite a ways. And one of the reasons that only 24 comments may have been received was, to my knowledge, only 5 homeowners were notified of this project. They did place signs up that stood about this high, 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, notifying the nearby residents. I wasn't notified. I never go down that section of Crest Avenue. I live on Crest Avenue. I go the other way, okay? That's number one reason I'm opposed to it. And financially, it doesn't make sense in my opinion. There are several sites in the Esplanade where homes are not impacted visually by placing it there, okay? And I just paid my IRS tax bill. We're looking at a difference of millions of dollars between Coral Street and Esplanade, okay? Now, maybe Monterey One Water will not guarantee, well, I know they won't guarantee a rate increase, because they've already told me in previous meetings and going to Monterey One public comment things, they have expressed that they will be raising their rates consistently through the years. Okay, $5 million difference, that's a lot of money in my book, you know? So I don't think it was right that we were not notified all homeowners, property owners within that area that are attached to that APN number of the proposed site. And that's why you got so few comments, 24 comments. There was no notification. So thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't get any notification either, but I assume that was because I was too far away from the site, proposed site. First of all, beware of using the more expensive option just because free money is available. Just look at the Fremont Street Bike Lane project. It's subject of much dilution now. So we have rotations to protect. Also, what about costs down the road when the grant expired? Maintenance costs will be higher because this site is a lot farther away from the other site. So if something goes wrong, the repair costs will be quite a bit more. Finally, just 2 weeks ago, I saw some ladies dressed in LPGA attire. If I had I would have guessed they were competing in the LPGA, but they were coming to a tournament organized by UC Santa Cruz Invitational. Players from Northern California, Oregon, Washington State, Southern California coming. There's a revenue benefit from protecting a soft golf course. Don't let any, I hate to use this term, person that's not concerned about visual impact, we won't know until after built how bad the impact is. By then, the golfers would have made the decision, I'm not coming anymore. So hotel revenues are at stake. Please take that into consideration. And then we have also a heritage to remember. You know, if we don't value our heritage, how the golfers from our time going to respect us either? Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Online.
Thank you, Mayor. Mark Page, you have the floor.
Yeah, great. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Okay. I'm the only person online. Obviously, with progress comes a little bit of pain. I get this. But I think the natural choice is to underground this thing and to save costs, right? Saving costs would put it back on the Esplanade. I don't think one person has seen this underground concept. I think these were, as you mentioned, were delivered for the first time tonight. We saw them in the packet that got sent out a little early. But I think that we recirculate that for an upper section of the Esplanade, and it makes perfect sense. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Page. Next on actually person in chambers. Going into one chamber real quick. Maybe set the clock, please.
Warren Blanner from Pacific Grove. Listening to all this is very interesting. I guess what I heard is that there was a lot of visual concerns on how it's going to impact, how it's going to change the environment. I understand one of the proposals is to make it very environmentally friendly. So the next thing is how it's going to affect the public use. And for what I heard tonight is that the people that golf, and I love to golf, and I golf there many times, it will not affect me on going out there and playing my golf game. I will not even see it because it's going to be submerged. There are many families and children, not as many as it used to be, less children in Pacific Grove, going to Esplanade Park, playing volleyball, putting up nets and things, and taking away that precious, precious park public land. To me, it's just, it's sad. And I really hope that people here with families and children and grandchildren, they're not going to play on a golf course. They're going to play in the park. and I would do anything to help preserve the parks and to make sure it's available for our children and our children's children. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Will. Ms. Danicore online.
Thank you. Jessica Denicore?
We have one other hand. Okay, that'll be it.
Jessica Denicore, you have the floor.
We'll go to Lindstrom.
Carl Lindstrom?
I just wanted to take a moment to point out that the audio today doesn't seem to be working on any of the YouTube streams, so the public is only able to view the meeting once they sign in via Zoom.
Mr. Lindstrom, can you repeat that a little louder? We couldn't hear you.
Yeah, your audio doesn't seem to be working today on the YouTube stream, or the public has to sign in before they can get access to any of the audio via Zoom.
Thank you. Jessica Denicore?
Hi, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to speak on this important decision regarding the Coral Street Pump Station electrical relocation. I'm here to respectfully urge to reconsider the Esplanade Park alternative, not as it is viewed in the past, but as it stands today with updated design options, clear cost realities, and stronger need for fiscal responsibility. First, the financial difference is significant and cannot be overlooked. The Esplanade Park option is estimated at approximately 5.7 million compared to over 10 million for the golf course location. Even lesser cost to do the entire new project, pump station project, Esplanade Park.
I seem to have lost you, Ms. Denicore. I think we lost her connection.
Yeah, she's been unstable because she's gone on and off. So I think that's all the public comment that we have tonight. And I've received a number of letters from Ms. Denicore as well. We have up here, and we've reviewed them all. So we'll go ahead and close public comment at this time. Bring it back to the council. We're not at this time. We are not making any decisions. This was a study session for us to receive the input directly from Monterey One Water, which I believe is the first time we've done that since 2012, and ask and have the public give us their feedback, which we received. We also received a number of letters that are much more fleshed out versions of what we heard at the dais. So actually, those would probably be a little more substantial. And many of the folks that spoke also sent us a number of letters. So we've taken all that into consideration. At this time, I'll just recognize as we move forward with the project, we will have this information at our disposal, and we will be able to at the appropriate times provide input or ask questions of Monterey One Water. So at this time, do I have anyone here that would like to make a comment? Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm not making a decision. I'm not favoring it, but I want to repeat what I've heard. And so what I've heard from folks is that this has been a very linear process. Things went with Esplanade, that was ceased, and then went to Coral Street. We do need a city site, so there are a limited number of sites that are possible. But I also heard from people that they're unsure as to whether the Esplanade site was given the same sort of very responsive alterations in to address some of the concerns, lighting, the bulk of the project. And so I'm hearing from people that it was not necessarily, it was more of an apples and oranges kind of process, or it seems to be. Not sure where people had been suggested that would be put in Esplanade at the bottom where the recreation is taking place, or up higher, don't know. I also think we have a legal question about the limitations on open space as to what can be legally placed in something that's designated. And of course, I will say that cost is always a consideration. It's even if we're not paying the bill, it's still taxpayer dollars or ratepayer dollars. And so we really need to make sure that that's factored in. And I will say that outreach and how we notify people is a continuing challenge. So for those who felt they weren't notified, we always need to do better, and really appreciate your telling us that that's a frustration for you. I'm going to underscore again how hard it is to make sure all the people that are impacted really do hear about it. And that seems to have been a frustration in this project as well. So those are some of the things I'm hearing from folks. And as well as the 10 feet below, you don't know what's 10 feet down. So even though it's a flat thing that maintains the golf path, you could hit bedrock at 8 feet, and then the best intentions might not be able to be fulfilled. Anyway, I really appreciate Monterey One's responsiveness and hearing people's concerns. And I really appreciate that we'll get some further answers, but there are a lot of questions, and I want you to know we heard you.
Thank you. Councilmember McDonald?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, and one thing I would like to say, because I know this is just a session kind of giving Monterey One Water an opportunity to hear from the public, us to ask our questions. So I had some things, similar lines. I think that no matter where this is located, the subterranean is always going to be the desired. We have the view sheds, we have the wildlife corridors, and all of these are important to the residents who live here as well as the visitors who come here. And obviously, cost is an important thing. So I think what's really not transparent right now, other than having received so many letters in the past when there was more visibility, and so there was more opportunity for people to respond, and so few people knew about this one. What I think is important is to understand better, actually what Councilmember Garfield said is, my question was, what was done with Esplanade? Was it just dropped because of opposition, or was it looked at equally? Would locations higher up not affect the use and have less impact on neighbors and have less cost? So I feel also that there's like an apple and oranges comparison here where we can't tell what's the best alternative. And I know we do have to work with the city's sites. I understand why the Corporation Yard and the water treatment plant aren't good options, but this is, for now, electrical only. But another thing that I would like to know is how far out we anticipate the pump station needing to come out and come up. And then is it better to have chosen Esplanade so they can be co-located? So I just feel like there's a lot of information we still don't have here because we have to represent the needs of our public, and we are some of that public as well. So I think that these are other questions still outstanding that will be really important before, and the biggest one I think also is the whole open space thing. If our regulations really don't allow for this type of usage in open space, that's something that has to definitely be considered before anything can move forward. Thank you.
Again, I'd encourage you to work with Monterey One Water staff offline to understand all of that. I know they'll help you. Mayor Pro Tem.
I'm not going to repeat everything everybody else said, but this is to receive the presentation. We're not making a decision. And I'm sure Mr. Gentleman, yes, I'm so sorry, heard all the comments and appreciate the letters that have come through. And I also appreciate all the comments that came through. I think that's very important that we hear from the public. We haven't been, I've been here several years. I hope to be on longer, but I don't think so. But it's great to see so many people speak, and that's important. And I'm sure Mr. Thompson has heard the comments and all, and this is just to receive the information at this time.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and close the presentation tonight, close the meeting tonight. We got our actual meeting at 6 p.m., so we need a little time. But I do appreciate all the residents coming out and saying their piece, and understand that we have read all of the letters, and there were some very, very bright people that sent us great letters, so we've seen it all. And I want to thank Monterey One Water, Jennifer and Matt for coming out. Appreciate you very much. I kind of want to echo just one thing I heard, the visual. Yeah, I think it's always best to not cover our views. I mean, that's one thought that I have. But that being said, I appreciate it. We'll keep working together to find the right place for this facility. Thank you so much, everyone. The meeting is adjourned.
Just hit that button and then you're on.
How are we doing? Ready? Okay. Good evening, everyone. It's 6:01 PM on April 15th, 2026. This is the regular meeting of the Pacific Grove City Council. We're here in council chambers, 300 Forest Avenue in Pacific Grove, California. I said the date was, I said this 3 times tonight, so I'm kind of like April 15th, 6 PM, 6:01. In fact, calling the meeting to order. We have 4 council members present on the dais: Councilmember McDonald, Mayor Pro Tem Emilio, myself, Councilmember Garfield. We have 1 council member appearing remotely, Councilmember Chap Spaduri from 3550 Ridge Line Drive in San Bernardino, California, 92407. As stated on the agenda, he is not present yet as he is still attending another event. So he will join us and his vote will not be counted until such time as he is present and roll called in. And with that, I will ask my Mayor Pro Tem to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda under item 1. A motion by Emilio, second by McDonald. All in favor of this agenda as stated, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 4-0. We're on to presentations. I have 1 presentation today. This is my proclamation for Arbor Day. Let's see. I can stay here at the dais. I don't need the microphone. Is anyone going to receive anything tonight for Arbor Day? We have someone? Oh, you're going to? Okay. All right. Well, I'm just going to read it from here. This is in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees. This holiday is called Arbor Day. It was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products, and trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy, I, Nick Smith, Mayor of Pacific Grove, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2026 as Arbor Day in the city of Pacific Grove. And I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day with us and to support efforts to protect trees and woodlands. Thank you very much. And Mr. Go? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Smith and members of the City Council. We appreciate you guys acknowledging Arbor Day. It's very important for the Pacific Grove and our wildlife and our monarch butterflies that we plant trees in the town and keep our canopy coverage. And I'm going to steal some of Joyce's thunder here. This Sunday, we will be doing a Arbor Day celebration at Esplanade Park where we will be planting some trees. Not a bunch of trees because we don't want to overcrowd that park, but that's a good open area where we do plan on planting some trees for the future generations to love. And I believe that's 10 a.m. on Sunday. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And the proclamation, I'll keep it here with me and give it to Sandra at the end. All right. Thank you guys. I really appreciate that. Keeping it alive for Arbor Day. Last year was a fun one. So look forward to that event. And now we'll move on to council and staff announcements. Do we have any council announcements? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and I'll recognize the city attorney. Do we have a report out today on
Thank you, Mayor. With respect to the one item on closed session labor negotiations, an update was provided to council and council provided direction to the attorney, but no reportable action was taken.
Okay, any staff announcements, Mr. Mogensen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one. I just wanted to let the council know that we spent today about 6 or 7 hours training in our emergency operations center, trying to get ready for the next big disaster that could come our way, hopefully not anytime soon. But that was organized by Jennifer Fugit in our police department and then facilitated also by Monterey Fire. So we had a good day kind of as a team working through some of those stations and different things we need to. So just wanted to let you know about that.
Thank you very much. Go ahead and move on to general public comment. This is general comment must deal with matters subject to the jurisdiction of the city and the council that are not on tonight's regular agenda.
At this time, is there anyone online wishing to make general public comment?
Yes, Mayor, we have Jane Haynes.
Good evening. I realize council can't discuss the cannabis license tonight because it's not on the agenda. But I do want to comment that the city's interpretation of the cannabis license is that because the act doesn't expressly prohibit it, the law allows one applicant to have 8 chances to get the license and the other 2 applicants to have only 1 chance each. I don't think that an administrative law judge is going to agree with that. And if a disagreement, if the judge does not, it's going to further delay the time when the cannabis dispensary can get started, and it could involve protracted litigation. So I hope the city accepts my suggestion that is in the packet tonight and gives all applicants the same chance to get the license. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Jane.
Christy Italiano Thomas.
Excuse me. I was just noticing 2 empty seats again tonight and wanted to point out, like, in about 8 months, there has been a full dais or however you say that. And I just find it odd. And I know people get sick but like 2 tonight, in addition to Paul leaving. And I just wanted to remind you that y'all did cancel another meeting of the year for vacations and whatnot. So it's hard to believe that people are this chronically sick. And anyway, I think it's odd. Thank you.
Colleen Ingram.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to show support for Jane Haynes' idea with the cannabis lottery to go to the rather than all 8, go to the 2. So yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Carl Lindstrom.
I just wanted to support the cannabis lottery issue. The city staff should have never considered that the owner issue was a PG ordinance and PG specific issue, because the state has regulations on what it means to vet owners of cannabis stores. And I am kind of stunned that the city manager and the city staff's opinion is that the ordinances really supersede any of the California state law that has been put in place to vet these different owners. So I really hope you do consider Jane's opinion, because it's going to save us a lot of money in future legal costs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No further hands.
We have a representative from PG&E. Did you want to introduce yourself? This is the time.
My name is Megan Rain, just introducing myself as the new Government and Relations Representative for Pacific Gas and Electric. I'll be following up with everybody individually if I have not already to set meetings. I want to make sure you have my contact information, and just know I'm the new girl in town if you guys need me. I'm happy to answer questions, but I am new enough that you're probably better off getting one-on-ones with me than me answering tonight.
Yeah, we won't do Q&A tonight, but if you could send us all an email with all your information, that'd be great.
Absolutely, will do.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you very much. All right, we're moving on to the consent agenda. We're closing general public comment tonight. Moving on to the consent agenda, dealing with the routine and controversial matters, may include action on resolutions, ordinance, or other public hearings for which testimony is not anticipated. At this time, does anyone on the council wish to pull a consent item? Anyone in the public wish to pull a consent item?
Nobody online, Mayor.
Okay, we'll go ahead and bring it back to the council for action on consent.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second, yeah, make sure you use your mic, but I heard you.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Amelia, second by McDonald, and Mr. Councilmember Durius has raised his hand, so he must be in the session.
Sandra, let's go to Councilmember Baduri.
Thank you. I just promoted him as a
He's
panelist.
just trying to get in and get recognized, but okay, we're gonna take the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No, he wasn't in time. I'm gonna count it that way. So now he's in. So we've just completed the consent agenda. We're on to the regular agenda. Councilmember Paduri is now with us to take votes going forward. We're at item 11. And I'll recognize our CDD Director, John Biggs. Councilmember Paduri, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. And I am joining remotely and there's nobody over 18, etc.
Great, excellent. And I have already given your location and it's stated on the agenda. So, Mr. Biggs, go ahead.
There we go. Good evening again, John Biggs with your Community Development Department. We have again for you this evening some things regarding the housing element for you to consider. This is another chapter in the housing element saga that goes on. As you recall, I can't get this system to work. Sandra, do you have a quick second? I thought so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Start over again. John Biggs with your Community Development Department. We have another chapter in the housing element for you to consider this evening. As you recall, back in December of 2025, you adopted the update to the housing element along with a number of amendments to our general plan, coupled with some changes to our zoning code. We sent those approved documents off to the State Department of Housing and Community Development for their review, and we were anticipating certification, but rather than certification, we got a letter from HCD that said that they still needed to have us make some amendments to the zoning code regulations. The zoning code changes are occurring in three locations, and they are requirements that there be minimum densities for three zone districts: our R3 zone district, our C1 zone district, and our C2 zone districts, each of which would have a minimum density of 20 dwelling units per acre. What I have up on the screen right now is the change to the R3 zoning regulations, and you can see in red that is the new language that is being added and under consideration by you this evening. Then we move on to the C1 and C2 zone districts, and that's in Chapter 2331 of our municipal code. And again, you see in red that under the columns for the C1 district and C2 districts, we are establishing that minimum density of 20 units per dwelling acre. So that takes care of the changes that HCD wanted us to make. There was one cleanup that we wanted to make. There was a kind of an artifact from an earlier ordinance amendment that got included in the ordinances that you adopted in December, and it was a change to the R3M zoning regulations. We want to make sure that we keep a record of including that language that was deleted. So what you have on the screen are in red, the words that we just are simply adding to the R3M regulations and are part of your consideration of the ordinance this evening. Up on the screen right now is a map of Pacific Grove that indicates the locations of the R3's district. That's sort of that magenta color. The C1 zone districts are circled in green, and then in the goldenrod is the C2 zoning district. So you can see that they're spread across the city of Pacific Grove, and we just provide that in your package just to give you a sense of where these zone districts were occurring. From an environmental standpoint, you adopted a certified environmental impact report in December of 2025. And to stay consistent with California Environmental Quality Act, we had to do an addendum. And so we are asking that you just consider that addendum as part of your consideration of these ordinance changes. It keeps the appropriate environmental analysis in line with what CEQA requires. So we've completed that, and that's part of your packet. And then we had a special meeting of the Planning Commission in March of 2026 in an effort to keep this moving forward. And they recommended, full recommendation of the Planning Commission, along with the recommendation with staff, that you introduce the ordinance this evening and acknowledge that you have considered the addendum to the environmental impact report. And with that, we would be able to submit these documents to HCD as quickly as possible in an effort to try and get our housing element, that golden ticket that says that we're certified, back to the city. So that concludes staff's presentation. I'm available for any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Go ahead and take it out to the public for comment on the item. Anyone online wishing to comment?
I do not have any hands raised online, Mayor.
Okay, go ahead and bring it back to the council. So I'll make my first comment. We are trying to clean up for the housing element here. And looks like we've identified the issues and are working to fix them. So I'm very supportive of getting this rolling and getting it through, and then moving forward. We got to get this thing done, right? Okay, and any other comments? Councilmember Garfield.
Thank you. I'd just like to repeat the question I already asked you earlier. So in these areas where I have greater density, you're still allowed to build a single family home?
That is correct. Yes, we were strategic in saying that the minimum density is applied to multifamily dwelling units, so that preserved the ability to have single family dwellings in these zone districts.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor Pro Tem Emilio.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to thank you for the presentation, Mr. Biggs. Consider the addendum for the certified environmental. And
Just can we make the motion recommendations 1, 2, 3?
Okay, I'll make a motion to go number 1, 2, and 3.
So second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll take a roll call because we have an online participant.
Thank you. And I think that was Councilmember Garfield that seconded that.
I did.
Oh, you did. Thank you.
Yes.
I missed that altogether. Mayor Pro Tem Emilio,
Aye.
Mayor Smith,
Aye.
Councilmembers Garfield,
Aye.
McDonald. Aye. And Paduri.
Aye.
Motion carries 501. Councilmember Rao absent.
Thank you very much, Mr. Biggs. Moving right along here. We get through this item, it's a little lengthy. Where's our next page? That's the question. 160, okay. We're going to 160 in the packet now, which is item 11B. This is the ordinance approving concession lease agreement with Fortunate Fork LLC, and I will recognize Mr. Sinna.
Hello, Council, Mayor, Nick Sina. Here to present the first reading of the ordinance to approve a concession lease with agreement with Fortune Fork LLC. Prior lease with Point Pinos Grill was with La Crema Hospitality that concluded on November 22nd, 2025. City staff went through an RFP and selection process. To give you a brief outline of that process, we released the RFP on December 15th. We had a mandatory pre-proposal site visit on January 5th, in which we had 7 groups that attended and toured the facility. January 12th, we had a deadline for submission, in which we had 4 groups that submitted deadline for questions to be submitted. We had 4 groups that submitted questions for that. Proposal deadline was on January 29th, and on that day, we received 2 proposals. A panel of staff reviewed each proposal, interviewed each proposer. The Fortunate Fork LLC was recommended as the highest rated proposal for their unique qualifications and vision for the premises. The new restaurant name will be The Grove at Point Pinos. The terms of the new lease outlined are, it's a 5-year lease with 2 5-year tenant options. The rent will be 7% of monthly gross sales with a monthly rent cap of $13,500. That cap will grow 3% per year. These terms are very comparable to the prior lease. The timeline of operation, they are targeting middle of June, beginning of July to be open. If the first reading of the ordinance is tonight, April 15th, the second would then be on May 6th. Staff is recommending holding the first reading of an ordinance to approve a concession lease agreement with Fortunate Fork LLC and approve publication of a summary approved by the city attorney.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cena. Go ahead and go out to the public. Yes, sir, come on up. We have one person in chambers that would like to speak on item 11B.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Paul Dyson. My wife and I recently moved here from Burbank in Southern California, and the first thing that happened was that the golf course restaurant closed, which we'd been used to visiting when we came up here on vacation. So that was disappointing. Burbank actually has it similarly, a municipal golf course with a restaurant, and went through a lot of travails a few years ago because it was losing a lot of money. Those seem to have been resolved. And we're very glad to see that you found a new operator here. So in general, we're very much supportive of this new lease and a new tenant. I would point out a couple of things that concern me when I read the lease. One is that looking at Appendix D, there's a lot of equipment that goes with the lease, but the security deposit is only $11,000. I may have missed something here, but that seems like a very light amount to cover those effects and machinery and so on that goes with the restaurant. So that to me seems like an indirect subsidy to the new operator, but perhaps I'm missing something. Similarly with, and again, I'm new here, so I don't know what your city policy is, but the amounts of liability insurance, I think at 1 million and 2 million, seem to me in current circumstances to be on the low side. Again, dreaming dragons here, but most times of any kind of litigation or settlement or whatever, you pretty quickly get through $1 million in terms of any kind of insurance claim. So I would suggest that those numbers ought to be at least reviewed. And if they are deliberately set low, again, to help the new operator get in, that's fair enough. But again, it should be recognized then as a subsidy to the new operator. Thank you.
Any further public comments?
No comments online.
Okay, thank you very much for bringing it back to the closed public comment. This item bring it to the council for action. Just will state that this document's been reviewed by staff and the council in closed session. And so, you know, we have looked at a lot of these issues. I'm fully supportive of the current this proprietor who's been received a lot of awards out for the current restaurant that they run, and also supportive of the contract as it is currently written. So with that, I'll open it up to the floor for any further comment, or anyone want to make a motion to approve it.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the first reading of the ordinance.
Second.
Okay, yes, this is the ordinance. Got it. Okay, we got a motion by Emilio, second by McDonald. Any further discussion or comment? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Emilio. Councilmember McDonald.
Aye.
Councilmember Spaduri.
Aye.
Garfield.
Aye.
Mayor Smith.
Aye.
Motion carries 501. Councilmember Rao absent.
Thank you very much, everyone, for putting that together. That was not a light amount of work by admin staff, so we really appreciate you doing finance staff taking care of that. That was a lot of work. We went through a lot on that process, and I think we had an excellent result. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Now, again, it was another long one. When we go there, got to find my spot here. Okay, we're 12A. Amend policy 000-25 code of conduct. And I'll recognize Mr. Mayor Pro Tem here, Joe Emilio.
Thank you. I want to give you a little historical perspective here. In the past council meeting, there was past council, former councilwoman Amy Tomlinson had put together a robust code of conduct. And because of makeup of the council was reduced to only a couple of steps to the code of conduct. And I've brought it back one other time, and it was again a little bit different council, and it was denied. Now I'm going to back what I call code of conduct light, and it's been checked by our attorneys. And before I get started with the code of conduct, we did get an errata sheet on it. It's a lot better. Thank you, Sandra, for putting that up. Basically, the city of Pacific Grove. Before I get started on this, in regards to a code of conduct, there was a place, one of the cities that was recommended where they checked. They had censored past 6 months a council person there. But I'll go ahead and start this slides. And I'm not going to read it all to you, but this is a code of conduct. Go ahead and the next slide. Anyway, it's the foundation of the city council ethics and essential for public trust and confidence in the city council. And before we move on to the next one, this council has worked very well together. I feel very confident, but we really don't know what's going to happen during the next election. Hopefully we'll see some great people on board, but you never know. So I think it's good that we make an adjustment here. Let's go on with the next slide. And we do hold the standard to lead by example. I think the public expects that. And I think this is something in the future which should be done all the time. Go ahead, Sandra. As I said, it was one of the council meetings, which we do now, but you never know what's going to happen in the future. We hope it'll be great. Go ahead with the next slide. And of course, I've really emphasized this. I think we do it now. We work for the common good, not personal interests, but you never know what's going to happen in the future. And we want to make sure people are on board on this. Go ahead with the next slide. Is there, yeah. Basically, I failed to put in there, but share information, ask questions of the staff with a copy to the city manager. I think that's very important, or the deputy city manager. That I meant to put that in there, but go ahead with the next slide. And of course, we're supposed to praise in public, which we normally do, and if we have to, criticize in private. With the next slide. And of course, we do now, we work for a win-win situation, but you never know what's going to happen in the future. I think it's important that we strive to consensus and common ground. And I'll go ahead and present the code of conduct first before I get questions on the slides. What would your preference, Mayor?
What do you mean? The document itself?
Yeah.
We read the document.
Yeah. Well, the document that the code of conduct I was going to add on it.
Yeah, no, we have it in the errata. That's the document you're
Yeah,
presenting.
that's the.
So we don't need to put that. Your slideshow is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, and if we have any specifics, we can talk about specifics.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine with me. You do have the errata sheet, and
everyone in the public can be looking at the errata because we did make some changes, and they're fairly, there were some substantial different changes, not necessarily changing the tenor of it, but just there were some additions.
Correct. And I can go over them if anybody wishes to on the council.
Right. Yeah. We can do that discussion.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So I'll go ahead and close the presentation, take it out to the public. I see one hand online. Mr. Lindstrom.
Thank you. Carl Lindstrom.
I'm just curious, is this the code of conduct issues in regards to the current council member that's being investigated by the California Fair Political?
Is that your comment, Mr. Lindstrom?
Yeah, no, I was really interested in finding out if this had to do with, I hope that at some point the public can learn more about the California political.
Thank you. Colleen Ingram.
Yes, thank you for taking my call. I urge you to adopt a code of conduct with real transparency and real enforcement. What we have here is nothing more than what Cal Cities has recommended in the past. It's just, like you said, it's code of conduct light. When Pacific Grove has experienced in recent years exactly what an unenforceable code allows. A city council member contacted a community member's employer in retaliation for a public comment. Another triggered harassment settlements paid with taxpayer funds, amounts never disclosed to the public because they're protected. A commissioner doxed former appointees with no consequence whatsoever, other than like a public trial that ended up pointing the fingers at the victims of the doxing. So these are failures this community has absorbed in frustration. A code that ends in a symbolic censure vote by colleagues of a wrongdoer is nothing more than performative theater. And that's been seen in Salinas too. So I'm asking the council to adopt 3 specific provisions. First, a tiered confidentiality, where complaints investigated are private, findings are published publicly, so complainants are protected, but the outcomes are on record. Second, graduated penalties and removal of privileges, creating a permanent searchable record that voters can consult at election time. Third, mandatory public reporting of settlements, the nature of the claim, the cost to the city, and whether the official remains in service. I also want to address the misuse of levy versus the city of Santa Monica. That case was protecting a constituent petitioning their government. It does not authorize repeated targeted harassment of individual city staff. Using it to justify a pattern of public badgering and relentless inquiry that forces harassment settles is a misreading of the law, and this code should be addressed in our code of conduct explicitly. We always hear that your vote is your voice, but if you only have information that's half-truths, you can't vote accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Inga Lawrenson Dimer.
Thank you. Mayor and council, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I'm serious about this because we've just heard a rant about a witch hunt, and we've just heard a rant. Yes, we all need more information, but this code of conduct is not going to change anything on that. We didn't even have one before. We got something and it's fine, but it was more to protect the public because council at the time was pretty disparaging of the public. And even now we rush through meetings so that it's hard to even keep up with what's going on because everybody seems to be in such a hurry to get out of there. Well, yes, we need more information on certain items, and yes, certain things are protected. But my God, are we Trump? Are we trying to do punitive measures? My goodness, this is not our little city. This is not our hometown. I mean, good grief. If it's not broke, don't fix it. I mean, they want to remove at all times be in compliance with all state and locally mandated ethics and reporting requirements. Excuse me, just leave it alone. It's fine. Thank you very much.
No further hands are raised, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. I'll go ahead and close public comment on this item 12A and bring it back to council. I'll lead off. There's a lot of input on both sides of this, even though we didn't hear that much in here tonight. We got it in our email. And I believe I really want to support and celebrate the mayor pro tem for bringing this forward, despite knowing that it could be a controversial item to say the least in the past. But it appears that some of that's toned down and the perspectives have been reasonable. But I will say my course of action for this is let's adopt the current one before us. Let's adopt that now. Let's because it's been worked on and it's been well done and it gives us a step in the right direction. I'm hearing, you know, we want more teeth and some of these things, but I'm hearing though are not legal. So we're not going to institute policies that are illegal. So in order to provide or disseminate information that might not be legal. So I think this is a step in the right direction. So I think tonight the action would be to accept it and I think keep the conversation going. I mean, you know, we have members of the public that are giving very specific and concrete examples. Those could be researched and determined if that's something that could actually be done. And then amendments can be raised by council members that are interested in bringing forward such amendments. So and petition your local government and keep sending those emails. If you want a stronger code after we've voted on this one and we pass this one tonight, then, you know, tell us what we can do. And we will, you know, if you want to do some research, go ahead. We have our lawyers and we can research things. And if a council member wants to bring forward further changes to the code, they can do so. So that's my suggestion for tonight. I don't want to wordsmith this document on the dais tonight. That never goes well. And I've been up here for almost 10 years and I can tell you that I've never had one wordsmithing that I enjoyed. So, and with that, I will open up the floor. Councilmember Garfield.
Thank you, Your Honor. I do think that there are some things we can call attention to tonight that I think would strengthen this. Again, I would concur. A code of conduct that works is a really powerful support for effective council work. I do think that this tries to be both the boards and commissions, the BCCs and the council, but I don't think they're combined where they should be combined and separated where they should be separated. So I'm going to suggest that we look at a BCC code of conduct separately so that those things can be called out very specifically that apply to BCCs and then not muddy them with what the council should be. So I would like that to be a next step as well. I think to the extent, well, whatever we end up with, when I was at the League of California Cities, I heard from a city that had used their code of conduct very effectively. And they recommended that one of the things they did that made it effective was that every time there was a change in composition of the council members, when there was a new election or when somebody else came in, they, as a group, reviewed and affirmed their allegiance to or their intent to follow the code of conduct, making it a living document. I think that we need to be doing that going forward every time we install new council members. But I also think that we can also work on some of the eye of the beholder issues that are in here. And the ones that I just picked up of, when you say offend, that's very clearly eye of the beholder. The word inappropriate also is so subject to discussion, as is what's a violation? What do you mean by giving an order versus making an inquiry? Those are the language in here that I think it would benefit from just some research to get those some synonyms that are clearer and less arguable. I think that we've looked at consequences and steps for calling somebody. Like if you look at it, it's like the first step shouldn't be a censure. The first step should be a discussion with the mayor. I'm giving this as an example. And then the second one is a city manager, and then the city attorney. And you have steps, so you're documenting a continuous pattern rather than going from 0 to 100 all at once. So, and to the specific point is we've heard from people who want to know what's the result of an investigation, what's the result of a reporting. We want to make sure that we are preventing harassment. We're preventing dissatisfaction and bullying. But on the other hand, we don't want to weaponize the code of conduct
so it can be used against people that you just simply don't agree with. So we've got a balance to hit, and I think this is a good start. I would not vote to accept it right now, but I would like to direct staff to continue to work on this in some of these areas.
Okay. Councilmember McDonald?
Thank you. Yeah, and I was trying to remember when we brought this forward before, and just kind of looking at what the changes are now. The thing that I'm still concerned about that we had discussed during the past council, I think that might have been 2024, is the idea of censure, because what was talked about and based also on public comment, I think at that time, is as council members, we are all elected by the public. And so one of the, I don't know what number it is now, it was 2B, or B, yeah, 2B, I think it was, that we should all work together as a team. But if council members are censuring each other, that actually creates division amongst council. And so there are concerns on my side about how do we as council members who are elected by the public censure each other when really that is more the role of the public, because the public has the opportunity for recall or for not voting for people in the future. That said, I don't think we would ever allow severe problems because we do already have an existing code of conduct. So I think we have to, kind of like Councilmember Garfield saying, I feel like we have to walk a line between making sure we're ensuring respect, which I think we already do, and the current code of conduct does do that, but not getting ourselves into a position where we actually create an acrimonious council potentially in the future by having a censure possibility, because there are no guidelines for what that means, how we do it. And that I find really concerning, because I don't think there's any clear definition of what that is, how it would be done, when it would be appropriate. So I couldn't accept it in this with that included. Also, I want to make sure, because there were also comments about, does this impact free speech of council? And I bring this up because sometimes if we have constituents that are talking to us about concerns about staff, it is not clear to me, and granted, normally that would be addressed, kind of behind the scenes with city manager first. But if there were public concerns, I don't know if the way this is written would preclude council from being able to represent their community. And I just want to make sure that we never get ourselves in a position where we prevent council from representing public interest.
Councilmember Padilla, you're online.
Thank you, Mayor, and a good discussion. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate the Mayor Pro Tem bringing this back forward, version 1 or version light as it is. I'm supportive of policy as it is. I would say as policymakers, as leaders, we need to look at not only the current environment, but also the future environment. We need to look at not only just the public, but also the staff that is running the city. And I think this kind of is paves the way for us to create something that is that can be useful. Really, everything looks like common sense until you actually face a situation and you find that there is a policy that is not dictating what that situation kind of leads to. And I think we're effectively setting the guardrails to ensure that some type of behavior is curtailed, and some kind of role model kind of behavior is what is kind of promulgated through the entire council. So I'm completely supportive of this, and the comments that were made with respect to some additions or refinements to the code of conduct. I think we can always work on refining this as we move along, but I think we need to have a certain kind of I would say framework in place before we work on those detailed kind of elements. Like, for example, censuring, right? Like that I get it, but there's also language in here which says that repeated kind of the language says repeatedly failing to follow proper conduct could be reprimanded. It doesn't say it would be, it says could be reprimanded. So there's language in here which says, like, effectively, how can we work as a team? And if we do not work as a team, and it really gets to the line where formal action needs to be taken, then this code of conduct will help us get there. So I'm supportive, and thank you again for bringing this forward.
Thank you. So at this time, I make a motion to approve the recommended action And we can kind of bifurcate this, and if someone else wants to make a motion and put it on the floor relating to some other aspect of it, that's fine, and then we can take a vote on that. But at this time, I'm just going to move the recommendation and get that out of the way.
Nope, I'll second it.
Thank you. So it's motion and a second on the recommended action by Mayor Smith and Mayor Pro Tem Emilio, and now we can take discussion on that motion. McDonald, please.
If it wants to be adopted, I would do a friendly amendment to not do the censure part at this point because I don't feel that that is adequately fleshed out for it to be effective as it's written currently. And I think we would need further discussion about whether that's appropriate for councils to do. So I would make a friendly friendly amendment, excuse me, to adopt without section 5.
And I don't accept that amendment. Councilmember Garfield?
I have a secondary motion. I have a different motion.
A substitute motion?
Substitute motion.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, my substitute motion would be to accept this as is, as a temporary measure with instructions to staff, city attorney, to work on clarifying ambiguous language or that is subjective language and find solutions for a stepwise function that handles the issue of censure.
I think it might be too complicated. No.
Yeah.
City attorney, what do you think about that?
We could do that, but really it's a policy decision. So I don't know that the city attorney would be the one to do that. I could help with language and drafting, but sort of the policy considerations is really something that you have discretion as to.
I mean, we have to be able to understand with a motion in order to vote on the substitute motion. So that's what that's my
sorry,
concern.
I was answering the substitute question, sorry.
My clarification on the substitute motion would be that it needs additional work.
But you said like a long statement. That was a motion. So we'd have to get like,
With
do we have that?
reference to staff to clarify ambiguous language. Now, he's saying that he's not the right staff, so that undermines my intent of the motion.
We're gonna have to start over. We're gonna have to start.
Discussion instead.
Okay.
The discussion on your motion is I understand the impetus to accept something so we have something in place. Got it. But I don't want to have the improvements be subject to something that we haven't put in place. I'd like to have not just an intent, but a plan for getting this to be improved. And so since this is just discussion, does anybody have an idea about how we could frame that so that it's not just maybe it'll come back, but we have an intent to firm this up?
Well, from my perspective, if the council member is interested in working on that, that's like a project for potentially a council member to work up the changes. I don't really, at this point in time, looking at what we have here, I think that this is fine for me, but I know other people want to make changes and think it's not, there are issues with it. So maybe perhaps one or two council members would want to work on this in some kind of substantive way and bring it back. But I think that's the only way it comes back right now.
May I do a little crosstalk? Joe, would you be interested in working with me?
I've spent a lot of time on this. In regards to the censor, I know Mr. Lorca did look through the whole thing. It says city council compliance with general norms and expectations. Then there's censor upon the majority vote of the full city council. And a city council member found to violate provisions, then it's city council members who intentionally follow. This seems this is sort of a last resort. I've spent a lot of time on this, and you were correct. It was brought to here by former council member Amy Thomason, and it was she had a lot more than this, but then it was reduced, and it was so weak. So I brought it back. I think it's again, we don't have to worry about us now, I believe, but in the future, I've said it before, like the mayor mentioned, we're okay right now, but you never know what's going to happen in November or December. So I'm good with it. There was a motion and I seconded it. I think we should go for a roll call vote.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem's called the question.
Thank you. Mayor Smith,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Emilio,
Aye.
Councilmember Garfield,
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald, no. Councilmember Paduri.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-1, 1 with Councilmember Rao absent.
All right, thank you very much. That was good discussion. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. We have to do that sometimes. We're in 13A, process for submitting applications to fill vacant council seat. And this one is going to be our city attorney, Mr. Lorca.
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, Councilmember Walking Stick resigned effective last meeting. So now pursuant to the city charter, it's incumbent on the council to fill that seat by appointment. In talking with staff, we've got some proposed timeline here. It's not set in stone. But I guess the one wrinkle here is that the city's gone to district-based elections, but pursuant to the city's code, this appointment can't be restricted to that district, but rather will be open to all residents, all voters in the city.
Okay.
That concludes my report.
Okay, we're going to take it out to the public on our vacancy process. We're talking about our vacancy item 13A. And we'll recognize general or commenters at this time.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll give it just a minute, but I do not see any hands raised so far.
Okay. All right.
Nope.
Well, we'll take it back to the council for action. On this one, the language of the charter is clear. That a vacancy shall be filled by appointment, and we've done this before. That's why we have Councilmember Garfield here sitting next to me. So here she is. It does work. The process works. So we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it better this time. We're gonna
Better person?
That's not what I meant. That's very self-deprecating of you to say. No, so I think we have to do this. So law is clear, but I do want to slow down just a touch from what the schedule is on here. I think we need to have all 6 of us present to discuss the process, and I'd like to hear from Councilmember Rao. So I'm going to suggest that we come back on May 6th to discuss process, and we get that process nailed down with the city attorney. And then at that time, we will set a timeline for applications and the eventual appointment. So I think we're looking at June for the appointment, somewhere in that timeline. But we need to get our ducks in a row before and set the process and agendize the meeting for that. I really appreciate staff running out and getting this done so quickly, but I think we need to talk about how we're going to do it, get it all nailed down in stone, and everyone will be ready. And that would be my direction for tonight, but I'll recognize others now. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, Mr. Lorca, it isn't that suddenly May 20th, we have to make a choice. I mean, we have to look at the applicants. It could be a further situation. We have an election coming up in June, gubernatorial race and et cetera. So, okay, I was just curious.
That's correct.
It almost sounds like a little bit on the
The
right.
charter provides that it's a mandatory action, but doesn't provide any timeline.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lorca.
Councilmember McDonald, you got anything?
I don't think so. So what we'll do is we'll talk about, because last time we kind of didn't talk about the process beforehand. So I know we'd gotten at least one letter about maybe making the application process public like it is for regular council members. So that'll give us an opportunity to discuss all that.
Yes, we'll set that up, and that probably will change. Okay. Councilmember Paduri, sorry.
Yes, I'm supportive of the May 6th kind of agendizing, but I just at least wanted to share a comment, which is in my opinion, we're looking at May, June timeframe effectively to get this nailed, and that whoever is coming in, really a short window of time, like June to say roughly November, December, to kind of learn what council matters are, kind of like go through everything. It's an exercise in itself, and I would say it's an exercise for staff to actually conduct the proceedings with respect to the process. It is a process for the council to review all these applications too. So my suggestion, I'm actually okay. I'm completely okay with leaving the position open until the November election, because we're also running into districts, and I think that's another kind of like aspect that we need to look into here, is really the district elections and how things are going to fare there. But having somebody come in for like 3 to 4 months or whatever the short time frame here, and at least in my view, it seems to be like counterproductive here. But thank you. But on that note, I just wanted to mention that if we're looking at like a May timeframe, I don't know how the agenda item is. The agenda item here calls out like an alternative action, but I think one of the actions should be, should the council actually consider appointing somebody or not? Thank you.
Thank you. No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that we, we kind of have, I think we've heard different perspectives. I just believe that, and I agree, while I do agree with Councilman Perduri's like analysis in the overall, that it would be great to not have to do all this. I feel that the language of the charter is such that we have to. So, and that's where I'm at. And I believe that the city attorney has looked at the charter, and I don't know if he would like to comment on that at all at this time.
Thank you, Mayor. As the Vice Mayor, as discussed with the Vice Mayor, it is a mandatory duty, but there's not a timeline associated with it in the charter.
Got it. Councilmember McDonald.
Thank you. One follow-up clarification is, didn't it say that if we don't select somebody within 30 days, was it, that the mayor then appoints? But if we're delaying the discussion of the process to 30 days out, then are we basically saying that we are choosing to do that instead of having the mayor appoint after 30 days?
I believe that is what the charter states. Within 30 days after the vacancy, then it'll be filled by the mayor.
Right. And so what we're proposing is to delay it so that by the time we have the meeting for the council to vote on it, it would now be well beyond that 30 days. So I just don't know how we should address that to clarify that, rather than following the charter saying that the mayor will select after the 30 days, that we will actually have a council selection process, which will be probably closer to 45 days out.
Well, the way that we did it the last time was that I told everyone and committed to making a group decision, which I'm doing again.
Okay, so as long as that, I just wanted to make sure, because of what it says in the charter.
But I will
do.
break the tie if there is a tie.
Okay.
Because there's an even number of people.
Right.
So, okay. Is that clear enough? All right. So do we need a motion on this, Alex? Hold on, let me get this
I
answered.
think it would be beneficial as direction to staff and direction to the city manager. So yeah, that'd be a motion would just make a clear record.
Understood. Councilmember Garfield.
So just wanted to clarify the process, what is entailed in the process. So from my understanding is that people will find out, those who are interested will find out when they should apply. There's already a copy of the application in here. So that's checked. That box is checked. The second thing they'll find out is what the interviewing process will be like. And we will also be able to agree ahead of time on what the voting process will be, rather than discuss it at the time.
Yeah, that's going to be the next meeting, the process
That's
meeting.
part of the process.
Well, I'm not going to commit to every single little thing right now, but we should be discussing the process.
If we discuss it, I'm happy with that. Yeah. I just didn't want it to be something that we put off until you're right in the middle of the quagmire.
We're gonna try not to do that this time. Yes. Okay. Anything for, let's make a motion. I'll go ahead and do it. I'll move that we direct the city manager to, I actually just move that we meet on May 6th, 2026, to set the process for appointment of council member to the vacant seat. That's all I want right now.
Second.
Anything else? Mr. Mogensen, go ahead. You have been very quiet tonight.
I have. I was soaking that in and just thinking in my head, do we have enough here? So would you like us to come with some proposed draft language for policies that you could use this for a starting point, or do you just want the council to just discuss it at the dais?
It would be great to have some recommended courses of action.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll do that.
thank you. So I think we're clear now. Anything else? Okay. All right. Did we get a second?
I got it.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. Motion, me, second. Garfield. Any further discussion anywhere? Anybody? All right. Roll call vote, please.
Thank you. Mayor Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Garfield,
Aye.
Councilmember Spaduri,
Aye.
and McDonald, Mayor Pro Tem Emilio.
Aye.
Motion carries 501.
All right, thanks, everyone. That's a pretty complicated item. We made quick work of it. That's good. And now, and it's important, so we're doing the work here. Now we have our featured item tonight, 14A. We have our amazing CEO from Montage Health here with us, and who patiently waited for 1 hour and 1 minute to give his presentation. So please come forward, Dr. McDermott.
Good evening, Mayor Smith and members of the council. Thank you for the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you today. Last month, it marked my 1-year anniversary with Montage Health and in this community, and I've spent much of that last year listening to caregivers, listening to patients, and listening to the community. And so today, I'd like to just formally introduce myself, share a short update on your local healthcare system, and reinforce that Montage Health is committed to being a community partner, not just a healthcare provider. So to give you a brief background on me, next slide, I'm sorry, and what brought me to Montage Health. I'm a physician by background, an interventional radiologist. I practiced for about 20 years. And before I came here, I led a nonprofit community-based health system in Fredericksburg, Virginia, that consisted of 2 hospitals called Mary Washington Healthcare. Like Montage Health, it was independent, locally governed, and deeply rooted in our region for more than a century. That matters to me because being a community-based nonprofit, it means that decisions are made locally. It means that our resources are reinvested here in our community. And it means we're accountable first and foremost, not to shareholders or distant corporate interests, but instead to the people that we serve. Next slide. That model, it's something that I deeply believe in, and it's one of the reasons that I chose to come here to Monterey, to the Monterey Peninsula, and to Montage Health. So today I wanted to focus on 3 issues that matter to all of us. The first is access to care, also ensuring that this remains a thriving place for people to live and work, and also working together for the benefit of our community. Next slide. First, access to care. It's one of the most important issues that faces our community, and it's a priority for us at Montage Health. Today, we operate at more than 20 locations in Monterey, in the Monterey Peninsula. That includes community hospital, of course, but just as importantly, it also includes primary, specialty, and urgent care offices, which are helping people stay well, so hopefully they don't need hospital care in the first place. Our Montage Medical Group now includes more than 120 physicians and advanced practice providers, and they're in offices in Marina, Carmel, and Monterey. Last year alone, they provided more than 230,000 ambulatory patient visits. Our MOGO urgent care clinics in Marina, Carmel, and Monterey saw nearly 50,000 patient visits in 2025. Those give residents timely care for minor injuries and illnesses, often at significantly lower costs than they would have with an emergency department visit. And most recently, when 2 orthopedic practices in our community, Monterey Spine and Joint in Ryan Ranch, and the Peninsula Sport Physical Therapy Center in Carmel, when they were at risk of closing, we stepped in. By creating Montage Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, we helped ensure that more than 120,000 patient visits each year could continue without disruption. And importantly, the staff at all of those locations were offered the opportunity to stay in their current roles, supporting continuity for patients and stability of our local healthcare workforce. We know that access to care remains a real challenge here and across the country, and there's more work to do ahead, but we're committed to doing that work for the people who live and work in this community. Next slide. I also wanted to briefly highlight a new advancement in care we are bringing to Monterey County for the first time, and that's our new thrombectomy program for stroke care. When someone is having a severe stroke, minutes matter, and historically, patients with the most severe strokes that have what we call a large vessel occlusion have needed to be transferred out of the area to receive the care that they required, wasting precious time. Through a partnership with the University of California, San Francisco, Montage Health is now able to provide this life-saving treatment locally at Community Hospital, so patients can get the right care at the right time, close to home. We are the first and the only hospital in Monterey County to offer this level of care. It's not something that you typically see in a smaller community, and we're proud to be able to bring this here to our local community. This picture here is the biplane hybrid operating room where these procedures are performed. And again, a lot of these state-of-the-art procedures that we do at Community Hospital, they're enabled by the philanthropic generosity of our community. Next slide. The second issue that I wanted to talk about is workforce and economic vitality. As one of the largest employers on the Monterey Peninsula, we understand the realities of recruiting and retaining professionals in our high cost of living region. It's why we're focused on building talent from within our own community. Through our Grow Your Own programs, we provide high school and college students pathways into healthcare careers. And in 2025 alone, we provided more than $1 million in scholarships to local students. We're also partnering with MPC and CSUMB to strengthen the local nursing pipeline, including our recent $15 million investment to establish the Montage Health Helen Bazuki School of Nursing at CSUMB and expand the number of Bachelor of Science nursing prepared nurses entering our workforce. In addition, we've also launched a clinical careers program that allows select Montage Health employees to return to school full-time while continuing to receive their full pay and benefits to train for critical, hard-to-fill clinical roles needed right here in our healthcare system. So these efforts are not only about meeting our healthcare needs, they're about creating stable career opportunities, strengthening our local workforce, and supporting the long-term health and resilience of our community. Next slide. And of course, I know we all care about affordable housing. To address housing pressures, we've implemented a home loan assistance program for our staff, helping make home ownership more attainable and supporting long-term workforce stability. Pictured here is one of our team members with her family celebrating their home purchase in Monterey County with the help of this program. And although Meg's daughter doesn't look too happy at the moment this picture was snapped, I can assure you she's thrilled with her new home. And next slide. I'll close with this. Montage Health is here for the long term. We are locally governed, we are nonprofit, and we are deeply invested in the well-being of our community. If there are opportunities for us to collaborate, whether it's around access to care, workforce development, senior services, emergency preparedness, or emerging needs that you see, I want you to know that my door is open. We view our role as a partner in the overall health of Pacific Grove, and I look forward to building strong working relationships with each one of you. And so next slide. Thank you again for your time. Happy to answer any questions that you might have for me.
Thank you, Doctor, so much. Questions? Mayor Pro Tem?
Oh, Mayor Pro Tem, sorry, the microphone.
That's all right. Doctor, I'm a Montage patient. So if I have any complaints, I can call you. Right?
Directly, anytime.
I'm only kidding.
Yeah.
I want you to know that I'm sure there's a lot of people in the audience that out there are Montage patients, but been in Pacific Grove for over, I don't know, going on 13 years now, and it's always been excellent. I just want you to know from a Montage patient. So, and I didn't catch your doctor. What was your specialty? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I was an interventional radiologist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So procedure based.
Okay.
Councilmember Garfield.
So we've always known that CHOMP is well endowed and we've got a great donor base. And I just want to say I'm really pleased with the way you're implementing and using that money to make the health and well-being of both the community and building a future. So I think you're doing a great job.
Thank
This was
you.
a great presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Councilmember Pinelli.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Dr. McDermott, for taking the time to be here, presenting what Montage Health has to offer to the area and offering your partnership to. Pacific Grove is certainly embarking on a lot of initiatives, including like a climate action plan and so on. And we're looking forward to partnering closely with you to bring these to the table. I just had a question. Since you're out here, my family uses Montage Health very frequently. In fact, we go to the Mogo urgent care. That's like a primary item with 3 children. It's always something going on. And I was just wondering, like, what is the strategy that you have to expand those kind of urgent care specialty clinics or et cetera? Is there someone that could come to Pacific Grove, for instance? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say, our Mogo urgent care centers, they've been very well received by the community. Like I said, over 50,000 visits last year to those urgent care centers. So I think the communities have recognized the need for that point of access. We do have plans to continue to expand. The next one that we plan to open is actually in Salinas. But as those urgent care centers continue to be at capacity, we will continue to expand them to meet the care needs of the community.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Ronald.
Opportunities to interface with the healthcare system per se, because it doesn't necessarily always relate to city business. But I do have 2 potential questions. One is, where do you see that we could be partners with you in a way that would help our community members? And the second is, having been a member of or utilized Monterey Spine and Joint before and knowing that that's now part of Montage, I know I've had other people ask me the same question, so it's a great opportunity to ask, are things pretty much still similar with that system, or is it a little bit different now that it's part of Montage? Anything that we should share with the community about what that merger means for everyday care?
And so on the first question, like I said, we consider ourselves an anchor institution here in Monterey County, right? We're here serving common needs for all the members of the community. And so, like I said, there's going to be lots of ways where we have intersections of common challenges that we have to meet. And so if ever there's anything where you're questioning whether Montage Health could help partner to solve or be a member of a solution, please don't hesitate to reach out. As far as Montage Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, there have been some changes in the year now that they've been a part of the Montage Health family. One of the big things that's happening behind the scenes is changing out some of the electronic health records and other things to get us on a common platform, on the Epic platform, and the other sorts of things that I think provide lots of synergies and advantages for the patients and the staff as well. And so we'll continue to move forward together as with the Montage Orthopedics and Sports Medicine team to make sure that they're meeting all of the orthopedic needs of the community.
Thank you so much. I can't say enough about Montage and the hospital itself and how great the care is that we all receive. And I personally have recently been there, and I received excellent care. So I really appreciate everything you guys do in the community. We're all looking for ways to collaborate, and just let us know if I can ever help or we can ever help. We'll be there for you. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you. I'm proud of it as well. In the year I've been here, I feel really lucky to be a member of the team.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Doctor.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I think that brings us to the end of the agenda. Yes, it does. So I appreciate everybody coming tonight. Thank you for participating. Meeting is adjourned.